1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up? Welcome back to the Hauntological Society, the place where we talk about paranormal stories. Nothing is too weird, no ghost stories are too scary. I'm Eric, I'm your ghost host. And with me, as always,
Wendy!
What's up, Wendy? Welcome back to the society. How you doing today?
Kosher. I live in this society. What are you...
All right, so before we get started into before we get started today, we got a little bit of housekeeping news to take care of. Number one, we build a new group on Facebook, and it's because our Facebook page is filling up. We're going to have like too many members that are eventually going to cut us off. So join our Facebook group. It's just the Hauntological Society, and I've linked it on the Facebook page. Go over there and join us, and I think we'll continue over there.
What do you mean they cut us off?
Well,
Facebook, you only have so many friends?
Facebook, I noticed, I think on personal pages it cut you off at like 5,000. I think.
Okay.
And so I'm afraid my point is I don't want us to get cut off of like being able to grow if we can get more than that. So because I think if you have like a business page or like something else, it'll allow you to have like more people, more followers. Sense. And so I've created just like a little group, and that way I can monitor the content and make sure that we don't get any spammers or bullshit in there, and we can weed out all the bad worms.
Okay.
The other thing is I created a Patreon. It's a new thing for us. And so what this is, if you're not familiar with Patreon, it's a platform for podcasters and content creators. You go over there, and there are free memberships, but we've created a tier of $5 a person. It's $5 a month, and we'll give you free swag, early access to early like episodes. We'll create a Discord chat just for everybody to talk. Trying to remember what else we have on there. I think I'll give you like discount codes for our merch. So what it is it's a way to help support us so that we can continue doing this, because we are doing it as a hobby, but sometimes it can be kind of expensive, and there are things that we need to make this better. And so we would appreciate it if you really enjoy what we're doing. Perhaps if you could just give us like $5 a month to help us out, and we'll make better content for you, and it'll be better for everybody down the road. Thoughts on that, Wendy?
No. I hate asking for money, but hey.
It's not like we're asking for money. It's just like a way to continue to help us self-fund ourselves, because we're putting in our own money, and we'd hope maybe that people could just sort of give a little to help us out as well too. Hey, we're not the only one that does it, so
okay.
It's not like we're flying solo here. And the other thing, this is the big news. This is the really big news. As of today, I can officially announce that coming in September, we start our Halloween-themed episodes. I'm not going to tell you the theme yet. You have to come back on September 7th. We'll have our first quote-unquote Halloween episode that day, but we will announce the official theme for the Halloween month. So get ready for that. Any ideas of what you think it is, Whitney? I think you know what it is, so don't explain.
Don't explain.
I mean, don't reveal it if you know what it is. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so ask me the question then.
Okay, never mind.
I plead the fifth.
That's a good answer. I was testing you. That was a test. You passed.
I mean, yeah, my brain's been like overwired this summer. School goes back Monday. Hallelujah. I love my children, but I need at least an hour to let my damn thoughts sizzle. And that hadn't happened in 2 months, so I'm fried right now.
So anyway, got a pretty good story for you today. By the way, we did the Dock Street Theater from Charleston. I posted some pictures of the theater, so if you haven't seen those, go over to our Facebook page and check those out. And I'll put them on the Instagram too. So that's for last week, but for this week, we have a different kind of story. This is the story of the Phillip Experiment. If you're not familiar, it's a... Well, Wendy, did you say you never heard of it before?
I have not. No, I mean I've heard of like bad imprint or devastations or traumatic events making imprints on things,
Yeah.
but I've never heard of this.
Yeah. It's it's kind of a it's a hot topic around the paranormal world, and it's debated still to this day.
I think it's pretty dangerous. I mean,
It can be. But before we get into that, I do have a little bit of paranormal news that I wanted to share. And this comes to us from theblackvault.com. If you don't know, the Black Vault is run by John Greenwald, and he is a UFO investigator who constantly reaches out through FOIA, or the Freedom of Information Act, to get information that whatever the government knows on UFOs and anything pertaining to UFOs or UAPs. And so this is a story that came across on October 11th, and I thought it was kind of cool. So I just felt like I would read it for you guys. The FAA records add a black cube sighting at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base during the drone mystery. So newly released FAA documents obtained by the Black Vault through their FOIA case add significant new information to still developing story about a series of unauthorized drone incursions at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in December of 2024. These records, drawn primarily from the FAA Skywatch system, supplement the earlier Air Force FOIA release previously covered by the Black Vault, and they introduce a striking new element: the report of a black cube-shaped UAS observed around 16,000 feet. And the event happened on December 14th, 2024. Air traffic controllers observed a drone over multiple sensitive locations on base, including the hot cargo ramp, the south side of the runways 5L, the military ramp, and the east side of the airfield. Base security reported the drones were turning their lights off and flying past them in close proximity. The incident triggered NOTAMS, NOTAMS, for an airfield closure. With the information broadcast on the ATIS, the closure remained in effect until the base leadership met later that morning. And then on December 17th, multiple radar targets, presumed to be drones, were observed on tower radar, no visual confirmation. On December 17th again, the situation escalated. There was detected between 7 and 17 targets within 40 miles of the airport, and on the ground confirmed the objects were drones. And then again on the 17th, an aircraft on approaching reported seeing a silver drone approximately 5 nautical miles southeast of Wright-Patterson. And then on the 19th, the most unusual report came from an aircraft westbound at 16,000 feet. The crew reported a drone passing beneath them by about 500 feet and described it as a black cube. The FAA Quality Assurance assigned coordinates to the sighting, placing it well east of the base, but it occurred within the same week as the other incursions and was documented in the same Skywatch data set. So that's pretty interesting. Didn't hear a lot about the cubes or whatever that was going around during the...
But a cube's pretty hard to fly, huh?
Yeah, I would say impossible. But there are reports of them. It's not uncommon. It's a weird thing that pops up, just like pyramids. There is military footage of flying pyramids over one of our battleships. Very strange. I mean, and I think people, but before Congress had testified on the flying pyramid. I think they've even mentioned the cubes. So, no propulsion systems are usually seen. No wings, no engines. So they don't really know how it flies. But it's a fucking big black cube that just floats around.
Crazy.
I don't know what to make of it. I mean, it's probably one of the weirdest things I've ever heard. I think
maybe it's headquarters.
The thing that to me that's the most fascinating about it is its shape. It's like, how does it get up there? How does it fly? You know, like, I mean, it's weird enough that you have like these discs and other objects that are floating around that don't seem to have any sort of like propulsion system. So, you know, that's weird enough. But now you got like weird objects that
cubes
don't fly that are flying around.
I mean, because, you know, a disc can kind of be rounded for like aerodynamic.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense in a weird sort of way.
But, you know, a big block, I mean,
if people see a disc, you can kind of make an argument that it's like a, you know, it's a weird craft kind of on its side that you maybe can't see the whole craft that might look like a disc. I mean, I could see that. There's ways to debunk it, but there's also things about it that you can't debunk, like speed, elevation, things like that. What kind of maneuvers it makes, because there's certain maneuvers that they do that humans couldn't withstand. They determined that some of the maneuvers that the UFOs were making would basically turn a human to mush,
Right.
because the gravitational pull would be so much that your body would literally just turn to mush.
Crazy.
Which is crazy. So, what the hell is it? I don't know. I just thought that was a neat little. I know it kind of sounded a little boring me reading it, but I thought it was a neat little tidbit of information coming out in the UFO world.
Is it? Do they have pictures?
If they do, they're classified.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, there are pictures that you can go out there and look for black cubes. I mean, there's a few around, but I don't think any official pictures have popped up yet. I would like to see, because they got footage.
Yeah.
There's like a fighter jet out there. Some guy was filming it, or with it being so close to Wright-Patterson, that would be interesting. Another thing I heard about Wright-Patterson. This is kind of off the wall, but I was listening to a story the other day, and it was the son of J. Allen Hynek who was talking. And if you don't know, J. Allen Hynek was the guy who was over Project Blue Book, and he was a skeptic at first. He was an astronomer, but then he became a believer after working for Blue Book, and became an advocate for the study of UFOs after his career with the Air Force. Well, his son was talking, and he was talking to a general who was like part of the crew back in the 50s. I think he might have been part of one of the supposed recovery crews. And he asked this general about the stories about taking like alien life forms or bodies to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And this guy's he said he's in his 90s now. And he said that the guy was a true American. He still stood by his NDA, agreement, like wouldn't disclose anything, didn't want to disclose like top secret information, anything that's like classified. But he did say he kind of like beat around the bush, and instead of saying yes or no, he said, why would they take the bodies to Wright-Patterson? It's an engineering base. They would probably take them to and I'm drawing a blank on the name, but he named the base that they would possibly take them to because it was more of a biomedical space. So I thought that was kind of interesting. He basically gave an answer without giving an answer.
Right.
I wish those photos would come out. I want to see those alien bodies. I want to see what they have left over from Roswell.
Yeah, that would be neat.
There is a video. I know we're going on a UFO tangent because we're not talking about UFOs today, but there is a really cool video that I've always thought was kind of interesting, called the Skinny Bob video. Have I showed you this?
Skinny Bob?
Skinny Bob.
No.
It basically it's basically like an alien sitting in a dark room, and it's kind of talking and moving around, and you can see movement, see its eyes move, its head move. It's got like the giant, gray, looks like a gray alien, giant head, bulbous eyes. And at one point it starts coughing and acts like it's kind of having a hard time breathing. And you see these doctors come in and like wipe its mouth and like try to like take care of it, and then they leave. It's real weird. But the rumor is that that's always been the true video, the one that they caught, the one that they have, I mean.
So they've got it, I guess, detained.
Yep.
And it coughs, and they go in and like wipe its nose or mouth.
Well, yeah, it doesn't. I think it's passed away since then. But the thing is that they got it, and they were filming it, and they were taking video of it, and I guess it was having a hard time breathing our atmosphere or something, and so it started like having breathing trouble. And you see these doctors come in and try to help it out, and like it's crazy though. It's real wild. Anyway, so let's talk ghosts. Back to the Phillip. We're talking about the Phillip Experiment. I think I've said that before. And if you don't know what the Phillip Experiment is, go look up what a tulpa is. Come back, because that's what we're talking about today. Is tulpas, and I'll actually give you a definition here. Don't go anywhere. Just stay. And so, did you look up tulpas?
I did.
You did.
Yes.
You said you thought they were dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody. Yeah.
We'll talk about this. Okay, so a tulpa is a concept originating from Tibetan mysticism, referring to a mental construct or entity created through intense concentration, visualization, or belief. In traditional Buddhist teachings, it describes a being or object materialized through spiritual or meditative powers. In Western interpretations, particularly with paranormal, psychological, and occult communities, tulpa is considered a sentient thought form, an independent consciousness brought into existence by the focused intention of its creator. Now, tulpas are believed to act and think autonomously, sometimes developing their own personalities, emotions, and will. While often discussed in metaphysical or esoteric terms, some interpret tulpas as a psychological phenomenon, manifestations of the subconscious given form through the power of imagination and belief. The concept has gained modern traction in fringe science, internet culture, and even as a framework for understanding experiences such as imaginary companions, psychic projections, or entities encountered in altered states. So, in the early 70s, a group of Canadian researchers sought to push the boundaries of paranormal investigation, not by seeking out a ghost, but by attempting to create one. And at the helm of the curious endeavor was Dr. A.R.G. Owen, a mathematician and former fellow of Trinity College, Cambridge, who also developed a strong interest in parapsychology and physical or psychical research. Dr. Owen was fascinated by the idea of whether the human mind, particularly the collective imagination of a group, could conjure a tangible paranormal experience. His wife, Iris Owen, equally enthusiastic about the field, assisted in organizing the session and ensuring the continuity of cohesion of the experimental process. Together, they posed a radical question. If belief creates experience, could belief also create a ghost? So the experiment was sponsored by the Toronto Society for Psychical Research, the SPR, which had been formed partly as a result of growing public interest in parapsychology. The Owens and their colleagues sought not only to investigate reports of hauntings, but to strip away the variables, create a spirit from whole cloth, and test if the phenomena associated with ghosts could be replicated under controlled, intentional circumstances. Their goal was not just to witness spooky events, but to determine whether the mind alone could be the engine behind such an experience. So what they did was, to carry out the experiment, the Owens recruited a team of 8 people with no history of psychic or mediumistic ability. The group was diverse. It was a diverse cross-section of ordinary individuals, and among them was an industrial designer, an accountant, a housewife, a bookkeeper, and a student. None of them were trained in spiritualism or the occult, and in fact, the lack of such experience was seen as beneficial, ensuring that the phenomenon would not be dismissed as tricks by seasoned performers. The group came to be known as the Phillip Group, named after the ghost they intended to invent. Before any seance or psychic rituals took place, the group first crafted an elaborate fictional biography for their spirit, Phillip Aylesford. They decided it was a 17th century English nobleman who had been a supporter of King Charles I during the English Civil War. He lived in a grand manner, married a cold and distant wife, but fell in love with a Romani woman named Margot, who was accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake. Lots of detail in his backstory. He was grief-stricken. Philip took his own life. The biography was entirely fictional, but richly detailed, including sketches of Philip's appearance and mediations on his personality. For months, the group immersed themselves in Philip's life story, visualizing him, talking about him, and attempting to emotionally connect with the character they had built. So, to create Philip, the group's efforts to communicate with Philip were met with silence. They tried traditional mediation and visualization techniques, but the results were underwhelming. However, when the group shifted the methods to intimidate a classic seance environment, sitting in a darkened room with tables, candles, and collective chanting, they began to experience startling results. During one of their early sessions, knocking sounds began to echo from the table. The knock seemed to respond intelligently to questions, often tapping once for yes, twice for no. Encouraged by this, the group began to ask Philip more questions about his life, and he responded, often elaborating on the backstory they had written. In later sessions, the phenomena escalated. The table began to vibrate, shift, even levitate slightly. But according to the participants, a cool breeze reportedly moved through the room, despite all doors and windows being closed, and at times a faint mist or light was said to manifest above the table. The table would often tilt or lurch toward certain participants, seemingly showing affection or interest. Even more bizarre, the Phillip entity began to develop a personality. He displayed a sense of humor, flirted with female participants, and even expressed jealousy when attention was paid to other imaginary spirits the group briefly conjured. Now, the Owens and their team maintained throughout that Phillip was not a real ghost, but rather a projection of the group's collective subconscious. Yet, the behaviors were uncannily lifelike. These events were witnessed by outside observers and even captured on film in a Canadian television documentary. Yet, no one outside the group ever reported seeing a visible apparition. The experiences were auditory, tactile, and emotional, but not visual. As the sessions progressed, the Phillip group began to experience phenomena that defied conventional explanation. It began subtly with faint, inexplicable rapping sounds on the table that seemed to respond to questions. The knocks grew stronger and more deliberate, developing into a kind of crude Morse code. Participants would ask Phillip to answer yes or no and receive clear, timed responses. One knock for yes, two for no. These responses always aligned with the fictional backstory the group had invented for Phillip, suggesting a kind of internal consistency to the phenomena. The group was astonished when the table itself began to tremble under their fingertips, and in later sessions, it would tilt violently to one side, rock on a single leg, or even appear to slide across the floor of its own volition. On one particularly intense evening, the table reportedly levitated slightly, rising just enough to send a shock through the hands of those resting on it. There were also cold breezes felt around the circle, often in a room that was sealed, climate controlled. Lights would flicker or dim inexplicably, even though no one was near the switches. At times, participants described a soft tapping on the walls or a sensation that the table was vibrating with energy. Even more curiously, Phillip began to develop what seemed to be a personality. He was described as playful and flirtatious, often opinionated, knocking more enthusiastically for certain questions or sulking, refusing to answer. If the group lost focus, on multiple occasions he reacted to jokes made during the session with loud bangs or aggressive table movements, as if offended or laughing. In one session, when a member asked whether he liked drawing they made of him or liked the drawing they made of him, the table lurched forward in a sudden, almost eager motion, startling the group. In another, a member asked Phillip to dim the lights, and the lights visibly flickered, despite the absence of any mechanical interference. Like I said before, no one ever saw the full-bodied apparition of Phillip, but several members reported brief impressions of movement in their peripheral vision, shadowy figures or flickers of light darting near the table. Others felt a distinct presence in the room, like someone standing just behind them, silent but undeniably real. These sensations were consistent across multiple sessions and described independently by participants who did not compare notes beforehand. In the absence of a genuine spirit or known psychic medium, the group found themselves confronting an unsettling truth. Either their imaginations were far more powerful than they realized, or something unknown had taken up residence in the fictional frame they built. The Phillip experiment did not produce a ghost in the traditional sense. There was no spectral figure floating through the walls, no disembodied voice echoing from the rafters, but it did produce a startling amount of physical and psychological phenomenon that seemed to suggest some form of intelligence was at work, even if it was born purely from imagination. The Owens concluded that Phillip was a thought form, kind of tulpa, brought into pseudo-existence through focused intent and collective belief. Implications for parapsychology were, and still are, profound. If ghosts can be conjured by the mind, does that mean hauntings are not the spirits of the dead, but psychic projections of the living? Does belief itself create experience? In some way, that a placebo can trigger real healing? Or more controversially, could it be that the entities we call ghosts or spirits do not exist independently of perception at all? Today, the Phillip experiment remains a cornerstone case study in paranormal circles and is frequently cited in discussions around thought forms, group consciousness, and the power of belief. While skeptics argue the results are likely due to subconsciousness cues or even intentional trickery, Others maintain that the experiment demonstrates that the untapped potential of the human mind and suggests that the veil between reality and imagination may be thinner than we think. What's your thoughts?
I think it's very interesting. So each member was told to manifest this in their own mind.
Yes.
Okay. And did they draw the picture first, or was that after?
I believe everything was done first.
Okay.
I believe because they created the backstory, they gave him a biography. Then I believe they created a portrait, which is be a physical photo of him, and then that's it.
Because I would think, could it not be anything?
Yeah.
Just saying yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I have some thoughts on this.
Okay.
Number one, I think this kind of ties into sometimes how I believe sometimes this can be how Ouija boards can be explained.
Okay.
For example, I think like if you go into a Ouija board session believing that it's going to be evil, demonic, you're going to produce that kind of result. Which is why I always say don't go into it thinking something negative, because you're going to find what you're looking for. You know, when we watch those shows and they go into these places and they're going, "This is evil. It's demonic. It's evil. It's a demon." They're going to find what they're looking for. So in some ways, I believe that you really can. Sorry, that was terrible. You really can manifest these things through your thought process. But at the same time, I do believe also that physical apparitions, manifestations of ghosts, spirits, that those are totally separate, different things than what we're talking about. That those things are real, but you can manipulate what's there using your subconscious. And so it's a way of like they manifest. The experiment here has proved that manifestations can happen when you trigger your subconscious mind. Kind of like when you go into a hypnosis state. The hypnosis state is not that your brain shuts off and you're just allowed to be told what's happening. It taps into your subconscious mind through suggestions and gestures. Like if you hear the word blue, you're going to start screaming like a chicken. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of the same thing without hypnotizing yourself, but you're putting yourself in that that frame of mind by tapping your subconscious and creating something to happen.
Okay. Deep. I mean, I think people can interpret things in many different ways, just like I may make a comment to you, and another person take that comment as a total different meaning.
Yeah.
So I think it's person, maybe.
Yeah.
I get that. I was trying to think of where I saw that. But to think that like just anybody, because there's some pretty fucked up people in the world, could manifest God knows what.
Yeah.
And then leave it there roaming for other people to deal with. I mean, I think that's a pretty sketchy thing.
Well, here's the
or
thing.
Scary, maybe.
Here's where it really gets scary. Okay, let's say for instance you and I went to a place and we decided we were going to do something similar to this. We're going to try to see how we can manifest something through our subconscious, or not even do it on purpose. We're going to go into a place and say, okay, this place has it's been told to us through someone else, that this place has
Evil intent.
a little child who is really a demon in disguise. Okay, and then not only is there a little girl, but there's also an older lady who watches over the little girl, who's actually the keeper of the home, who protects the land. And then on top of that, there is a creeper on the ceiling. Okay, so we're we're going to go in there looking for that, and let's say we get like something that says like toy or crawl or something. You're like, okay, this is what we're looking for.
Child.
So it kind of like tips the hat to like, oh, we might have found what we're looking for. And then so we will come back and get on the internet and say, hey, we've heard rumors that this place has this type of haunting, and we found this, and this, and it coincides. Well, then the next person who goes into that place, maybe they saw what we did, and they said, oh, this child, portraying itself as a demon, is in this house, and so we're going to go looking for it. And so every time somebody goes in there, you give it more and more power, and it just grows till eventually it becomes, something more, something existential, that grows with infinite power. And so, in that sense, it does become really, really dangerous. So if anybody goes into a place to like hunt for ghosts or anything, I think it's best to not go in expecting to look for something, but allowing the place to show you what's there. Then you'll find like the true meaning of what's really around.
In mentioning that, because you mentioned kindred spirit.
Yep.
I feel like when they first started, they went in that way.
Yeah.
With the stories that were told to them, so that's how they perceived the place.
Yep.
Somewhere in their over the years, they kind of stopped that thinking and went in like they heard the stories and all this stuff, but then they went in to see what answered.
Yeah.
And found it to be something totally different than what it really was.
What they were told.
Maybe just the original owner of the home making sure the people who lived there respected their property. But yeah, I understand that. It's pretty dangerous though.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of do the same thing with like I said with the Ouija board. People like to talk about how it's always the Ouija board demon, the Zozo, or whatever, the Zozo, whatever it is. And, if you start asking questions looking for it, it's going to show up, And so all it does there is continue to snowball and snowball and snowball. And especially if you got 4 people around, if I believe it, then you believe it, then this person over here believes it, then this person, then it's times 4 strength.
Right.
So you're going to get 4 times the exactly 4 times worse than what you originally thought it was. So it's a very, I think this is a very important topic to look at, not to debunk the paranormal. It can debunk experiences, but not the paranormal in general. And it's I think it's a great way to look at how to go into a place and truly investigate a place where this shows you that you need to go in without bias. You need to go in without forethought, without an early, preconception of what's happening. Because, like I said before, you're going to find what you're looking for, and if you're looking for evil, you're going to find it.
Right.
So if anybody out there decides to go investigate, make sure you go in with a clear head and let the place give you the answers, not you get the answers you want to find.
Yeah, maybe you don't go in. Is there a demon here? Or
that really irks my buttons when I see people go and investigate.
Do that,
and because I think the Casper's a Friendly Ghost isn't going to pull in ratings. People aren't going to want to watch this nice little ghost. They
want to see shit fly across the room.
We've said ourselves that we like the scary stories. Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. They're trying to make it entertainment, but at the same time, if you're trying to help this particular field, you're not. You're hurting it. So don't go in. Zach Bagans is the fucking worst. And it's a lot of the reason why I've kind of grown away from Zach.
It takes over him. Makes him angry. Yeah.
Everything that they put on there is such bullshit. I mean, if anybody has ever had any kind of experience with the paranormal, it doesn't take too much to realize that it's way exaggerated. This is too much. They feed off the old, I got scratched. Oh, it's in me. Oh, it's not how this fucking works. You can go into places that are haunted. You're not going to be fucking taken over. There's not some spirit that's going to like instantly possess you. That's not how it works. It's, he's there for like 10 minutes and he's possessed. No, it doesn't happen. I don't care if he's a medium, if he's an empath. It's not gonna possess him like that.
Yeah, we still watch him.
I know. It's that entertainment value. There is entertainment in that, but at the same time, it's kind of like cringe entertainment. You're like, God damn.
It is also a coincidence that he is still the only. They are still the only team that's on paid television.
Yeah.
All other platforms have had to move like YouTube.
Yeah. But I've heard a lot of the other creators that we've watched in the past, and they say that they like being out on their own because now they don't have like the producers
Ratings.
breathing down their neck, because the producers want results, just like the viewers do. They're like, well, this has got to fall at this time when you walk by. And it's like, no, it doesn't. It's just, if it happens, it happens. And so now these people that take it serious can kind of go back and just do it how they want to do it. And it might look boring to the average person, but that's how it happens. It's not always glitz and glam.
Get the uncensored truth.
Yeah. You want like the results though, because like the evidence is what's really the most important, not like the story to get you to the evidence.
Sex sells.
It does, yeah. You're right. They want it hot and steamy. Give me that hot and steamy ghost. That's why it's all misty, because it's so hot and steamy.
And you get burnt from the scratches.
You get the cold spots. They don't get all hot and fiery. They get all cold and wispy.
Well, they start burning when they get scratched.
Yeah.
So, can you check my neck or my back? It's burning.
I do believe though that you can get scratched, you can get touched.
Oh yeah,
that's 100% true.
But not every place.
It's not going to happen every place. But speaking of Zach, when they did their first documentary, the Ghost Adventures documentary, I kind of liked that. Like I did like it. I was like, oh, this is cool. Because they had like they did the Washoe Club, and they did like what's the place?
Bobbie.
They did no, it wasn't Bobbie Mackey's. It was the other place they did was out west. There was like the hotel. I think it was a Golden Hotel or something. I can't remember the name of it. I had to rewatch it. But they did the Washoe Club, the hotel, and there's one other place they went to. Oh, the Miners Shack in Las Vegas. There's like a mine where like 100 and some miners were killed in an explosion, and they stayed in the shacks, the miners' house quarters or whatever,
right,
to like investigate. And so, but there was I felt like there was some real evidence there, and they didn't really go around acting like, "Come at me, bro." I don't know.
Get lost wandering around in the desert, or
yeah,
because how many times have we saw them get lost?
I know,
separated from the group.
Or like he's like
in a trance.
Look, he's not himself, and he just is like looking at a wall.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, dude. Just be real. You'll be a lot better.
But we still enjoy it.
I know.
We need their hate.
I turned it on the other day and watched it. Fuck, I still turn it on. I'm guilty just as much as anybody else, but doesn't mean that I believe every bit of it. I look at it like a paranormal soap opera anymore.
He can have you shut down. I'd nip that shit in the bud if I were you.
I know.
I know. Talking about all the rest.
I'm not worried about it. Oh man, God, I am. I don't know about you, but I am so ready for Halloween.
Yeah, we're already getting decorations. For long, we're gonna have a friggin' haunted house up in here.
Well, that's the plan.
Well, maybe a happy house. It's not all scary. It's a happy haunting.
We're trying to get the tulpas up in here.
No, we are not. Don't manifest that shit. It's already bad enough.
It's never too early to put out your Halloween tchotchkes, by the way. It's I think I called it on Facebook the other day. I was like, it's October. It's time. It's spooky season. And next month is officially October Eve. And it's all building up to the big date, Hallows Eve. Yes. God, I'm excited about the Halloween themes we got coming up. I can't wait to share it with everybody. Hope you guys are excited like we are.
Woohoo!
Well, Winnie, you got anything else you want to mention?
I don't.
I think it was good. I think it was a good episode. Don't forget to check out our Facebook, our new Facebook group. Join there. Please, 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 if you can. I'd love it if you join our Patreon. It'd really help us out a whole lot. Buy some of our merch. It's Halloween season's coming up. Get some scary merch to walk around in. Please go check out our merch store. Please go to our Patreon. Everything you do helps us out. And please give us 5-star reviews. We need those to help the podcast grow. Just leaving comments doesn't do it. The 5-star reviews help us get a better algorithm, which opens us up to more listeners. So please, please, please go give us those 5-star reviews. Check us out on Instagram, Hauntological Society. And check out our email. If you got ghost stories, you got pictures, evidence, videos, EVP, send them to us. The Hauntological Society at gmail.com. I think that's everything. I don't think I missed anything. Am I, Wendy?
Follow, like, and subscribe.
Yeah, like, follow, and subscribe. Make sure you got that click that notification bell so you know when our new episodes drop. Oh, one thing I will mention before we get out of here, and I will leave you guys alone. Also, next month with the Halloween episodes, I had some bands reach out to us and submit some of their music. So all next month, we're going to be focusing on local and regional bands in this area for all you guys to check out.
Oh.
Yep. Including one from our old buddy, Brandon Holcomb.
Oh, okay.
So
I always love Brandon.
Be on the lookout for that. Got got some good stuff coming up. Anyway, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. And we hope to see you back next week. With that being said, I'm Eric.
I'm Wendy.
We're out.